So before we talk about rationalising the denominator, we've just got to quickly look at surds and what they are. Well, all a surd is an expression that includes a square root or a cube root or some other type of root. So let's have a look at two rules involving surds that are going to be useful when we're rationalising the denominator. So the first one is that the square root of a multiplied by the square root of b is equal to the square root of a times b. So for example, if we're working out the square root of 8 times the square root of 2, what we get is the square root of 8 times 2, and 8 times 2 is 16, so we get that is the square root of 16, which is equal to 4. The second rule, pretty similar, the square root of a divided by the square root of b is equal to the square root of a divided by b. So another example, if we got root 10 divided by root 5, that's equal to the square root of 10 over 5, which is equal to the square root of 2. Just a quick note here, the square root of a plus the square root of b does not equal the square root of a plus b here. And it's the same true. That's the same with minuses. So this is only true for multiplying and dividing. So let's do a little example where we're asked to simplify the square root of 44. Well, what we can do here is we can use rule number 1 and break this apart into two separate square roots. What's really useful when simplifying is finding, are there any factors of 44, or the number that's being square rooted here, that are square numbers. So if we can immediately see that 4 is a factor of 44 because 4 times 11 is 44, right? So if we rewrite this as, say, the square root of 44 is equal to the square root of 4 times the square root of 11, we can now simplify this expression because we know that the square root of 4 is 2. So this is equal to 2 times the square root of 11. And that is this expression simplified. Let's do another example. So we're now asked to simplify 4 times root 20. Well, again, we do the exact same thing here. Are there any factors of 20 which are square numbers? So if you want to be really thorough, you can write out all the factors of 20. So you can say 2, 4, 5, 10 are our factors of 20. And are any of these square numbers? Yes, the 4, again, is a square number. So we can write this. We can say that 4 times the square root of 20 is equal to 4 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. And this is equal to 4 times the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of 5. 4 times 2 is 8, so this is equal to 8 times the square root of 5, which we can just write simply as 8 root 5. So both of these, we're just applying rule number 1, that you can break apart the square root into separate square roots. So rational numbers, what are they? Well, they're basically just numbers that can be written in the form a over b, where a and b are whole numbers, or integers. So for example, 3 is rational because it can be written as 3 over 1, or 6 over 2. But root 2 is not rational because it can't be expressed in the form a over b. So on to the point of this video. If we're asked to rationalise a denominator, so let's say we're asked to rationalise the denominator of, say, this expression here, 7 divided by root 2, what we have to do is rewrite this such that we have a rational number at the denominator. And all you have to do to rationalise the denominator in this case is multiply the top and the bottom of the expression by the square root of 2, like that. And we can do this because we know that any number divided by itself is 1. So what we're saying here is we're writing this as 7 over root 2 times 1, which is still 7 over root 2, so it's the exact same thing. But what this does, if we just have a look down here, we multiply the top and the bottom by the denominator, which in this case is the square root of 2. And this gives us 7 times root 2 divided by root 2 times root 2. Well, by definition, the square root of root 2 times the square root of root 2 is just equal to 2. So this can be rewritten as 7 root 2 over 2. So let's do an example. The area of a rectangle is 40 centimeters squared and the length of one side is root 10. Work out the length of the other side. Give your answer as a surd in its simplest form. A little sketch is always helpful. So we're given that the area is 40 and one of the sides is length root 10. So let's call this side x. So this is x centimeters, root 10 centimeters. So what we can say is x times root 10 is equal to 40 because the area of a rectangle is base times height. So this implies that x is equal to 40 divided by root 10. And because we're asked to leave this answer in its simplest form, that means we have to rationalise the denominator. So we do the exact same thing as what we've done up here. We multiply the top and the bottom by the denominator, which is going to rationalise the denominator. So we can say that it's equal to 40 root 10 over root 10 times root 10. And again, root 10 times root 10 is just 10. So we're left with 40 root 10 over 10, which can be simplified again because 40 divided by 10 is 4. So our answer is 4 root 10. Thanks for watching.